The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you sign that petition, get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in my Instagram bio, GradyGrand716 on the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Also check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. We got a lot of gear and paraphernalia for our supporters out there, you know what I'm saying? Show some love, it go definitely a long way, it'd be greatly appreciated. Also check out my Instagram mixtape, Still I Grind, that hot shit. You can find it at Still_I_Grind on Instagram. It also has even a YouTube link where you can watch the whole Instagram mixtape straight through video mixtape. Shit is flames, man. Creativity on a zillion. Now check this out though. Former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton has actually said publicly that he's willing to testify in the Senate impeachment trial if he's subpoenaed to do so. So this kind of increases pressure on the Senate to actually do so. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has already said he's not going to call any witnesses, and he's going to conduct this with the White House, and he's not going to be an impartial juror. So, you know what I mean? He already made this shit clear. But, protesters were actually in the Senate office building, you know what I mean, on their swarm the Senate campaign, basically urging people to, the Senate to impeach Trump. So we'll see how this goes. Green War and Graduation. Then we'll go to Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So there's actually been conflicting messages sent between the Pentagon and the Trump administration, sometimes contradictory messages regarding Iran, Iraq, and the recent assassination by U.S. drone of Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani, arguably the second most powerful person in that nation, so they say, right? So, for example, U.S. command in Baghdad actually sent a memo to the Iraqi government suggesting that they were going to remove the U.S. troops from the land. This comes after Iraqi parliament actually voted to expel all U.S. troops from the land, right? But then Defense Secretary Mark Esper said that they're not removing U.S. troops from Iraq. And then General Mark Milley actually said that it was a poorly worded memo that shouldn't have been sent down in the first place, right? Then you have the Pentagon going against what Trump said the other day and said that we are not going to attack any Iranian cultural sites and acknowledge that doing so would be a war crime unless it made sense military-wise. Trump was talking about how he was going to bomb 52 cultural sites for the 52 hostages that were actually taken by Iran 40 years ago. So, Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the United States has actually denied a visa to Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, who was actually scheduled to speak at a United Nations Security Council meeting later this week. So this actually goes in violation of an agreement made in 1947. It's the 1947 United States United Nations Agreement. So I just wonder who's going to enforce that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, between Israel and the U.S., it seems like it's beyond reprimand. But we'll see how this plays out. Over in Kerman, in the southeastern city of Kerman, Iran, this is actually the hometown of the person that this all revolves around, Iranian Commander Major General Qasem Soleimani. There were actually dozens of people that were trampled in a stampede that took place during his funeral procession. But nevertheless, a million people in Iraq and Iran actually poured out into the streets to mourn the death of Soleimani. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the New York Times reports that the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, he actually had a meeting with Iran Security Council and basically said that their retaliation has to be done against U.S. interests and done by Iranian forces, not Iranian proxies like some of these militia groups or the Kataib, Hezbollah in Iraq, for example, right? So that went down, but on the U.S. side, you also have this past weekend there were 200 Iranian Americans that were actually stopped at the U.S.-Canada border and heavily interrogated, and then now the details have come out showing that these people were basically interrogated for hours, even asked about what do they think about the relations between the U.S. and Iran and shit like that. So it's scary if you ain't got shit to do with it, but on the flip side, you do gotta be better safe than sorry, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you out here fucking shit up, you gotta deal with that karma. Meanwhile, in graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the Trump administration and the outgoing president of Guatemala actually reached a bilateral agreement that expands their already in place safe third country rules, which basically says that people from Honduras and El Salvador that are seeking asylum in the U.S. actually can be shipped to Guatemala, where they'll have to seek asylum there first. Well, now this has been expanded to Mexicans that are seeking asylum in the U.S. can now be sent to Guatemala to apply for asylum there first. So this is real because we actually had just yesterday it's reported that 15 Salvadorans, 8 of them being children, were actually shipped to Guatemala, and you also have 18 Hondurans, 10 of them being children shipped to Guatemala. Same time, you also have the Remain in Mexico policy that's going on for Mexican asylum seekers. That's now being changed to where people are getting sent to Nogales, Sonora, which is 340 miles away from El Paso, Texas, where they would have their immigration hearing. A very dangerous journey. Human rights groups are saying that people have already been, abused, kidnapped, and robbed on their journeys towards, these asylum hearings. So 340 miles, that's a long extension. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and Customs and Border Patrol have actually begun a pilot program that will actually harvest the DNA of asylum seekers that are detained in immigration jail. So this is crazy, and these agencies actually said that the Justice Department actually helped them develop the program and roll it out. So it just seems like a scenario where justice is not going to be served, and where there's already so many unforeseen detrimental consequences to the information that we give these tech companies voluntarily. So we're talking about something like DNA. Who knows? In 10 years, you might have motherfucking robots deciding to claim motherfucking you. You know what I'm saying? Send us out into war, fight some Iran, Iraq type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just gotta stop playing God, man. But that's what's going down. The Green Wall graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. I've been telling y'all about the wildfires that have been going on in Australia, forming these thick clouds of black smoke that have been blanketed in the air. And now these same clouds of smoke have actually traveled 7,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean over into South America, into Chile. And it said over the next few days that people in Argentina will be able to see the smoke coming all the way the fuck from over in Australia. So that's crazy. Now let's know what time we're in. But also over in India, reports have come out that India suffered its hottest decade on record last year, this past decade. And last year, 1,500 people actually were killed from heat-related suffering alone. So, and it's saying that the impact of global warming involved in these deaths is unmistakable, by Indian officials or whatever. So that's what's going on with this climate change thing. We're going to report on it because the motto, Green Wall and graduation. Report out of the world, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. I'm not wearing no gear from there right now, but it's definitely fly and colorful shit. All in your favorite colors and sizes and all of that on the website. You got the Still I Grind collection. You got the Stop the KKK, the Kings for Playing Kings collection. And you got this stuff with our logo on it that'll definitely add to the movement. You know what I'm saying? Support the movement, support good people. We giving y'all facts. You know what I'm saying? And we good by your people. We gonna keep doing good by y'all. Now check this out though. Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein. You know what I'm saying? Straight, he looked like a fucking dirty guy. Let's keep it a stack. But at the end of the day, he's entitled to have a fair trial, even after 100 women have accused him, all different film people and actresses and people in Hollywood or whatever, have accused him of rape and sex assault. So he started his trial in New York yesterday, where he's facing up to life in prison. But now he's actually been charged in Los Angeles County for rape as well, and he's facing 28 years in prison. We'll see what happens. Green Wall and graduate. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Mexico, authorities are saying that ever since 2006, the U.S.-backed drug war actually has contributed to the disappearance of 60,000 people. Now this is now people in Mexico are saying that it comes from both the cartels as well as the Mexican security forces that are actually responsible for these disappearances. But that's a lot of fucking people. They say that this number actually surpasses the U.S.-backed dirty wars in the Latin dictatorships of the 70s and the 80s or whatever, Operation Candor and all of that. So when you're talking about numbers that large and people straight up disappearing, we're talking about mass graves and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is heinous. You know what I mean? To say the least. But we still let y'all know what's happening. Greenville and Graduate. The Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Bolivia, they've actually said the interim government has actually come into power ever since they ousted former Bolivian longtime Bolivian president Evo Morales and what he calls a military coup. Nevertheless, his movement to the Socialism Party, he's still allowed to lead that group, I guess, like more, through moral support and all of that, whatever, because he's not allowed back in the country. Nevertheless, I digress. The interim government has actually announced a date for the new elections, which will be on May 3rd, 2020, on a Sunday. So we'll see how that goes down. I actually thought they were just going to do a right-wing takeover. So we'll see what happens. Greenville and Grad. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Over in Puerto Rico, there's actually been a 6.5 magnitude earthquake that actually hit and knocked out all of the electricity across the island. So this comes less than a day than there actually being another earthquake, a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that actually hit the coastal town of Guanica on Monday. Now, keep in mind that these earthquakes, it actually forced the Stone Arch and the natural landmark Punta Ventana to actually collapse. But this comes after, keep in mind back in after Hurricane Maria hit in 2017, Puerto Rico actually suffered the longest blackout in U.S. history and the second longest blackout in the world history. At least recorded history is what we know, right? You know what I'm saying? Fucked up. So if you got familia allá, llámalos durante un tiempo diferente. ¿Entiendes? Greenville and Graduate. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So 8 men are actually suing the Boy Scouts of America for sexual abuse against boys that was conducted by Scout Masters and Boy Scout leaders decades ago. So they're doing this lawsuit actually in Washington, D.C. So in order to pass the statute of limitations. Now, this may set a precedent or have a domino effect of other people who've been molested or dealt with molestation with these motherfucking Boy Scouts and that want to bypass the statute of limitations as well and have their lawsuit heard in D.C. So we'll see what happens. But I'm waiting for these lawsuits to come at the Catholic Church and the Vatican because that's where all the bread is. You know what I'm saying? Greenville graduate. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Mississippi, this is a state that has like the highest incarceration rate in the country and is known for having overcrowded prisons or whatever. There've actually been multiple prison fights that have actually broken out and left 5 people dead. At least 3 of these deaths happened at the Parchment State Pen. So that's what's going on. And there's also a lot of uproar about these Mississippi prisons. And one in particular that actually has a lot of that's just being is just like a filth tank. You know what I'm saying? So check Tamika Mallory's page or whatever because people are about to start protesting about this shit. And the prisoners inside actually calling for help from our people on the outside. Let's see what happens. So Greenville and Graduate.